Well, happy Mother's Day to you all. I hope you enjoyed that little song and kind of set the tone for our time together today. And we're glad that you're with us, and I trust you're having a good Mother's Day weekend. It was my hope that we would be shooting this video outside, maybe around some nice flowers, and thinking Mother's Day in spring and all of those kinds of things. But apparently, that's not what the Lord had in mind for us today. You've all heard the expression, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And that is our message this morning, Mothers Rock. And if you're a mom, today we know that you rock. You rock it all. You do it all. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. Charles Spurgeon had a father who was an itinerant pastor, and he was well renowned in his own right. And at one point in his ministry, he was concerned that he may have to cut back a little bit on his work, especially on his travel. He was concerned for the religious education of his own children. And he returned one day from being out on a ministry trip, and the house was very quiet. And he made his way upstairs where he could hear his wife's voice. She was audibly praying to God, going through each and every one of the children, praying for their needs, praying for some of the things in their life maybe that she wanted God to work on. And then she instructed each child. And as he stood there quietly listening to all that was going on, he said to himself, I can continue my work. I know my children will do well. And of course, we know Charles Spurgeon, who was a great pastor in London in his own right, and a great scholar and writer. In fact, we are still using books and writings that Charles did well after his death. And we use them today. I've been using quite a few of them lately, as he wrote a book on the Psalms, and we've been looking a lot at the Psalms on our thoughts for today. Well, there's no doubt that mothers rock. They not only rock the cradle, but they rock our lives as well. And they're a great influence. Even after they've been moved on to heaven, that influence still remains. One poet wrote these words I want to share with you. He said that, Mother, that precious name, forevermore the same. Earth's greatest word, through ages past have flown, now no sound was ever known, like that dear name alone, or ever heard. From childhood's earliest day, she guarded all our way, with tenderest cares, and shared our very woe. Each cherished hope did know, heard every whisper low of childish prayer. Our Mother God, to thee in deep humility, we lift our praise. Keep those we love the best through every trial and test, and may they ever rest safe in your care. And of course, for those who still have our moms around, we can show them our appreciation this day. For those that have passed on, we certainly remember them, and their memories linger on, and the influences that they have had on us will linger on in the days ahead as well. From a little different perspective, I want to share a couple of thoughts from something I read with regard to some questions that were asked to second graders. Some questions about mothers. And the first one was, why did God make mothers? And the second graders responded, she's the only one who knows where the Scotch tape is. And another answer was, mostly to clean the house. And I'm sure moms are loving that. And another one, and I love this one, to help us out when we were getting born. That's why God made mothers, I guess. Well, how did God make mothers? One second grader said he used dirt, just like the rest of us. Another one said he used magic plus superpowers, and a lot of stirring went into that. Well, what ingredients are mothers made of? God made mothers out of clouds and angel hair and everything nice in the world and one dab of mean. I hope her mother didn't get to read that after she said that, dab of mean. What kind of little girl was your mom? Don't know because I wasn't there, but my guess would be pretty bossy. If you could change one thing about your mom, what would that be? This second grader said, she has a weird thing about me, keeping my room clean. I would get rid of that. Well, there's no doubt that second graders think that mothers rock in one way or another. Now, the Bible has some things to say about mothers and women in general, and today we're going to take a look at some of those things that we find in Proverbs chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. And we find there that this passage talks about a particular mother who did really rock. And we need to understand that this is a picture of a mom. It's an example of a mom, and something that we should consider. And especially for you moms today, we're speaking primarily to you, but I hope some of the men will listen along as well. You know, Proverbs 31, according to some surveys that I read, is the most preached on and talked about passage on Mother's Day every year. And so in a minute, we're going to dissect a few of those things in there, and we'll talk about them further. But before we go any further, there's one other song that I want to play for you, and I hope it will prepare your heart and prepare you to address the thoughts that we'll be making today as we move forward.